Thank you for joining us. One of the most important things in our daily lives is our relationship with our cars. We love and definitely depend on them. One of the leaders in the automotive industry is Mike Maroone, the former president of AutoNation, until he retired 2 years ago. But now he's back in auto retail and he just purchased several dealerships. He's going to share his thoughts on cars, past, present, and future, following these messages.
The mission of the Life Extension Foundation is to support scientific research and to gather and disseminate information related to the delay and eventual elimination of disease, aging, and premature death. The foundation is careful to commit its research dollars to projects that are difficult or impossible to fund with government dollars, institutional grants, or through other funding sources. It is essential to make anti-aging research a priority today to prevent a healthcare catastrophe caused by aging baby boomers overwhelming our healthcare systems. Education is the first step. Education is what the nonprofit Life Extension Foundation has been doing for decades. Established over 37 years ago, the foundation has provided $200 million in funding to biomedical research projects across the country. With your help and support, we will achieve this goal.
With us now is Mr. Mike Maroone. Mike, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
This is such an interesting topic, the automotive industry, and I'm thinking about how people in this world are torn between lofty thoughts and goals and interests, and of course, personal interests, and their love affair with their automobiles. Share with our audience your view on that.
Well, the love affair with automobiles is almost 100 years old, and it really manifests itself under the term freedom. So automobiles provide freedom of mobility, which allows people to work, allows people to visit family, friends, and pursue their recreational things. So it's a wide-ranging love affair, and it's really an important part of who we are as a society. It also really begins to make a statement about personal values. And what do you stand for? Are you a person that's involved in the environment? Are you a person that's involved in style? Or is this a utilitarian situation where it's just a piece of transportation? That's what makes the industry so fascinating.
Absolutely. And some people, like my son, are obsessed with their cars and they polish them all the time and are very, very hot and bothered if there's even a scratch on them. On a more serious note, you've been honored by Automotive News as one of the 50 visionaries in the industry.
Well, it's a tremendous honor. It's a long industry and a deep industry and an industry that's had plenty of talent. I guess the way I look at it is it's an individual award that really ought to be a team award. So what I've accomplished in my career, whether it was in a private company or a public company, is by surrounding myself with high quality, passionate people who really have the talent to make things happen. And I've been fortunate enough to be in situations where I could help grow businesses. But the award itself should be a team award.
Well, I certainly understand that. Tell us about your background. You were actually the owner of Maroone Chevrolet at one point, and then you had a couple more dealerships, and finally AutoNation, and a lot, I would say, in your amazing career.
Well, thank you. Hopefully there's still more to come. But my career really started as a one-year-old. In 1955, my dad bought a Ford dealership in Middleport, New York, and literally had 7 employees, and my mom helped out, so I was in a bassinet in the back seat of the car when she was delivering parts and helping customers. And so I grew up in the business, started working in the business when I was 13, and along with my dad, who is my mentor and my hero, we built a very successful private capital business, both in Western New York and in South Florida. I then was approached by Wayne Huizinga and Steve Berard back in 1996 with the idea of helping to transform an industry that needed transforming, and was fortunate enough to be part of the foundational group that built AutoNation.
Yes, Wayne Huizinga, a wonderful family, and they're involved in such wonderful civic causes and so forth, including respect for the environment and animals. I was talking to Pam Huizinga about that. But back to you. Tell us a little bit more about the fact that you actually retired 2 years ago and then decided you want to get back into the industry?
Well, Richard, I failed retirement miserably. I thought I was ready to begin a different chapter and certainly wanted to get out of running a nationwide business, and spent almost a year doing all the fun things that people always said they'd love to do. And then I missed the business world. I missed building teams. I missed serving customers. I missed looking at opportunities, and I am now in over 20 different businesses, some of which are automotive retail, and that business is growing pretty rapidly.
Well, as one of this nation's greatest business leaders, actually, as you described, tell us a little bit about the other businesses other than automotive that you're involved with.
Well, I'm involved in other fragmented businesses. I'm involved in the waste business, which is beginning consolidation. I'm involved in the restaurant business. I'm involved in a number of different real estate projects. I'm involved in aircraft and helicopter charter. I just like business, and I like building teams, and I like creating opportunity for others.
All very interesting, Mike, and along with everything else, you're also heavily involved with philanthropic causes.
Well, I think it's really important that we give back to the communities we serve. I think that's very basic, but I look at somebody like Wayne Huizinga that was really the role model for other successful people in South Florida that picked causes that served a very diverse group and let's say go deep in terms of personal involvement, financial involvement, and getting other teammates involved. We have many causes we support. Probably the one closest to our heart is the healthcare, and we are deeply involved in the Cleveland Clinic. My dad and I serve as the co-chairs of the leadership board and recently led a capital campaign that raised almost $100 million. The purpose of the campaign was to build a neurology and a cancer center, which we have done. It's now open. The cancer center is named the Maroone Cancer Center due to some donations that we made and involvement we had. And we're very proud of that. And we're now on to phase 2 of building more capabilities for the Cleveland Clinic here in Florida. We think it's an incredible institution and an institution that's badly needed.
Speaking of health, it so happens that right here in South Florida, our main sponsor is Life Extension. And Bill Falloon, the founder, they're in the forefront of research into anti-aging and reversing aging, in fact, and stem cell therapy and so many other. And they were the first to advocate mini aspirins, for example, and coenzyme Q10. And Bill asked me to give you one of their magazines. I would like to send you a monthly edition of this for you just to be on top of what's going on.
Well, thank you. I'm fascinated with the healthcare industry, and certainly aging is a primary issue here in South Florida, and how you age properly and how you take care of yourself and how you preserve the quality of life that we have.
Addressing the diseases of aging is their prime mission statement, and I'd like you to speak with Bill Falloon one of these days if you have time. I think you'll find it very interesting. But I'd like to change topics and ask you a little bit about the industry, the car industry again, and the amazing fact that cars seem to be evolving constantly, and vehicles with navigation, in fact, self-driving cars. What's happening in the industry?
Well, I think we've gone from an evolution to a revolution, and there is new technology and new products that will really change the way we live. And a car can be a communication hub, it can be a transportation hub, but it also impacts our environment, impacts our well-being, impacts our ability to function both as private individuals and business people. And I think the change is coming very rapidly. We're seeing autonomous vehicles, we're seeing a shared economy, we're seeing electrification coming around the world, and it's certainly going to change the whole industry and change it very quickly. And it's all driven by the consumer. It's no longer driven by the producer. And that's what makes the industry so fascinating.
Mike, as a gentleman who has achieved so much in life, and all of a sudden you're back purchasing new car dealerships yet again, I really would like you to share with our audience what motivates you in life at this point and what drives you to want to make further changes.
I think there's two things that really motivate me. One is, I think this phase for me is a knowledge transfer phase. So it's taking the knowledge that I've accumulated as a second-generation auto retailer and transferring it to the next generation, both in my family and my friends and children of people that meant so much to me. So I take my 50 years of experience, I try and share that in a very professional way, while understanding that the world is changing and it can't always be done the way it's done the last 50 years. So I'm taking great enjoyment out of that. I think the other thing is helping people be successful. So part of being an entrepreneur is not all about yourself or how much money you can make. It's about creating value in businesses and helping other people that can carry the business on without you become very, very successful. And I'm fortunate to be surrounded by some young, very smart people who are helping me do that. And it's an awful lot of fun for me being able to transfer that knowledge and help create wealth and opportunity for them.
I'd like to again change topics and ask you for your views on humanity in general. Some people argue that as we witness incredible advances in technology, in some ways humanity hasn't changed. They still do the same naughty things they did hundreds of years ago, but today with greater technology. What's your view on the future of humanity and your view on this in general?
Well, I think my view on humanity is that the human race has tremendous potential, and it's how do you unlock that potential? And I think you can look at technology from two viewpoints. One viewpoint is the use of technology should make us more efficient, make us more productive, and create time to do other things. So from the humanity point of view, it's what do you do with that time? How do you help the communities that you're fortunate enough to live in? How do you help your family and friends be more successful? How do you help people that are not successful in very basic needs they have? So I think technology is very important. I think technology for technology's sake isn't as important as how it can free you up to be more productive and allow you more time to pursue things that are much more important, and that is helping advance the human race.
It's hard to sit here with you today and ignore the politics around us and all of the discord that occurs. Many people have different views. Some think it's okay to pander to and humor others, and other people, such as myself, think, hey, there should be some social responsibility and people should have a decent perspective on what's really valuable in this world. I myself am British born and a naturalized US citizen, and salute the United States and the opportunities it provides, and believe that all people should do the same thing. Appreciate where they are, count their blessings. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that we are very fortunate to be living in the United States of America. I think it's provided opportunity that's unequaled anywhere in the world. From a political point of view, I guess I wish that it was a more positive environment. I wish it was focused on the ideas, not necessarily the rhetoric. I look back in our last presidential campaign and very little of it was about issues. It was an ongoing personal attack from both sides. And I think that kind of atmosphere discourages certain people from entering the political space. You've got to be willing to take a real bruising to enter that space, and I don't think that's what politics is about. So I'm hopeful for America. I'm hopeful for the opportunities it presents. I hope that the reality TV, showbiz side of politics can take a backseat to what are real pressing issues for our country and the future of the United States.
It so happens I fully agree with you. And before we conclude, I'd like to ask you, what final message would you have in our conversation today for our audience?
Well, I think one is that every one of us needs to be involved in the political process, involved in our communities, involved in organizations that really count to ourselves and our community. And I think those that sit on the sidelines and want to be critics, that's a very comfortable place for some. I prefer people who want to get involved and try and make something happen and understand that it's an imperfect world and that everything doesn't come out perfectly. So to me, involvement, rather than criticize politicians, be in the political process. Rather than try and criticize our healthcare system, get involved. Rather than criticize businesses, go create jobs and go put yourself on the line and see if you can make a change and help others along the way.
And of course, we should all count our blessings in this process. A real pleasure, Mike. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being involved.
Thank you, sir. I'll be right back.
Oh, wow.
Welcome.
I like that. Chevy.
How's it going?
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming. Today we're here to talk about the Chevy Silverado Special Edition.
Awesome.
What's your first impression?
It looks sick.
I like the whiteout grille. It's just a really sharp looking front end.
This is one gorgeous truck.
Oh, did I say there was only one Special Edition? I meant 3. This is the Silverado Special Ops and the Real Tree Edition.
I love that. I love all 3 trucks.
Wait, did I say there's only 3 Special Editions? There's actually 5.
Holy mackerel. Wow.
This is the Midnight And that's the Rally Edition.
That's really nice. This is an exceptional truck.
This is awesome.
I love how each one has its own personality.
So many choices.
Which one's your favorite?
Come home with me.
Introducing the Chevy Silverado Special Editions.
How can you choose?
This concludes our special show for today with Mike Maroone. I'm Maya Brandt, and thank you for being with us.